In the words of Jay Johnson, what's up, 3rd ID? Major John LaFlash here, 3rd Infantry Division Realism Unit. Just wanted to take a quick moment before you listen into our podcast to say welcome back. It's been a couple of years since we've completed any podcasts. Our Public Affairs Office has been working very diligently to get this together. This is going to be our first quarter podcast. Our Public Affairs Office is going to be producing these podcasts at least quarterly to start off as we continue to grow traction. And have more content to share and more info to share. We may move that to monthly, but as of right now, please hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up button, and thank you for listening in.
Welcome back, Dogface Soldiers. You're listening to the 3rd Infantry Division Realism Gaming Podcast. I'm Sergeant First Class Brock, and here with us tonight we have several other speakers from the unit. If you'd each like to go down the line and introduce yourselves.
Hey everybody, Major LaFlash here.
Sergeant Skitz, NCIO of Public Affairs.
And Corporal Pendergast, also known as Widowmaker Duck.
Welcome, gentlemen. It's good to have you here. This is the first podcast that we've hosted in about 3 years now. So it's great to get this thing going again. Major, before we get started with news and such, do you have anything that you want to say to get us started?
No, welcome back. It's been a while. I know as I mentioned in the short video clip it before this, our Public Affairs Office has done outstanding. Sergeant Skitz and his team. We got Sergeant Brock on there, several others. Between getting back to this point, something that we've been trying to do, get back into quarterly podcasts to start off, and if we are successful with this, who knows, maybe monthly. Really depends on you, the listener. So
outstanding. Thanks, sir. All right, well, let's get this thing running. To get started tonight, we're going to go over some big promotion and billet change news over the past quarter. So starting in January, we were coming off of Operation Thin Ice, reporting back in at Fort Stewart for some home station FTX. Now, at that time, we had a new first sergeant step up. So at the time, 1st Platoon's platoon sergeant, Staff Sergeant Drake, was promoted to E8 Master Sergeant and moved up to the billet of Company First Sergeant. Wasn't long after that, he completed First Sergeant School and was promoted to E8 First Sergeant. So he's held that role now for about 4 months now, doing very well at the company level, supporting the rest of the unit's operations. And of course, yours truly, at the time, Staff Sergeant Brock stepped up from first squad leader to 1st Platoon's platoon sergeant. Since that time, I've been promoted to Sergeant First Class, and I've really enjoyed the role. It's a new set of responsibilities and experiences, and I really enjoy working with the guys. Now, in addition, in the past couple of months, we had Sergeant Tucci receive his promotion to Staff Sergeant. He's our 4th Squad leader, 4th Squad Phoenix. He's done a great job on the field, and it's great to have another senior squad leader on the line with us. And in March, we had a big piece of news come from our aviation detachment, 3 Cab. Specialist Cruz transferred from infantry over to aviation and was promoted to E5 officer candidate. He's currently in officer candidate school, and he is now the 3 Cab detachment commander. Now, OCS Cruz is an active duty soldier in the U.S. Army. He's currently serving as a staff sergeant. He is leading soldiers who maintain the Bradley Infantry Fighting Vehicle. So he has a wealth of knowledge about the Army, about Army leadership, and all kinds of technical details on and off the battlefield. I mean, he's great with all of the kind of training that you would expect from an Army NCO, but he's a big gamer as well. So really great to have him with us leading 3 Cab. And most recently, that is in the past 4 weeks, 1st Platoon has seen some big changes in its squad leadership. Now, to start off, 1st Squad Leader Sergeant Sam went on LOA due to real-life work obligations. So in his place, Staff Sergeant Grigoff moved from 2nd Squad Ghosts back to Scorpions, his old squad. and he is currently serving and getting them trained and back up to speed. So with that, his second in charge, Corporal Ayers from Ghosts, moved up to squad leader. So he's also hit the ground running. Really great guy. Also a Army veteran who's adding a lot of value to that squad. And in third squad, Staff Sergeant Abel transferred to reserves, and his two ICs, Sergeant Skitz, who we have here with us tonight, has taken control of Spartans. So that's our weapons squad. They do a lot of great work supporting the platoon during our fire and maneuver on the battlefield. So a lot of big news all around the unit, but all in all, we're in great shape, and we're really enjoying hitting the ground here in our deployment. So that is unit news in a nutshell.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of big changes for us in this last quarter. I mean, couldn't be more proud of the growth that we've had. Couldn't be more proud of the leadership that we've developed. To be able to have soldiers ready in place and ready to take on that next challenge, with whether that's squad leaders vacating that spot for personal reasons, or an LOA, or moving to reserves. Having those two ICs, three ICs ready to move up, and really not seeing dips in that performance or attendance of that squad. You still have the consistency of Force Squad with Staff Sergeant Tucci and Phoenix running smoothly and doing what they did. I know we dipped into Force Squad for some billet changes. I mean, that's where Corporal Pendergast came out of to become Widow Doc. And then obviously, I know they transferred another soldier out of there to be a squad medic as well. So, I mean, to be able to have that much bench strength within a platoon is pretty solid. I mean, that's a hell of an achievement. For really, I wanted to touch base a little bit on the news of the last. What have we been up to for the last couple of years since our last podcast? We've back then. I mean, we were larger, a couple companies. So we've been, hitting the gut a few times. We shut down America's Army Proving Grounds as an official game that we support. Insurgency, Sandstorm we used to support back then. We shut that down as well. Both of those mostly just due to combination. Having the right people lead them, motivated soldiers that push forward. For America's Army, we've been in America's Army since the founding, almost 2003. And we're finding that those that were still playing America's Army Proving Grounds were either a part of us at some point throughout the 10, 15 years of the game, and went their course, went through it, did their mil sim, and now they just play for fun, or have no intentions of really being in the mil sim world of a first person shooter like that. So it's not goodbye forever. If they ever do produce another one, and a lot of people want to try that, I know we have a whole field full of retired soldiers wanting to get back. Insurgency, it just never really kicked off for us. We played Insurgency and then moved over to Insurgency Sandstorm. We tried Squad as well in its beta time frame, so that's a possibility for us to kick off again as we find vested soldiers that want to take on that responsibility and really lead the way through the opening, process of establishing an OSET course, a chain of command, things like that. So we've grown since that point. Obviously, after we brought some units or took some games away or shut them down, we folded those soldiers into the only game we support now, which is Arma, which is completely different than those other games that I've talked about. So it was hard to retain a few of them. Some transitioned very well and continued to serve, but at the end of the day, I mean, right now we are an Arma group, Arma Milsim realism unit, and that's really our future. Until further notice, we're just going to keep pushing the recruitment side of it, and see from there. But if Sergeant Skitz, I know you want to talk a little bit about the DMOS and recruiting, and why don't you take that?
Yeah, sure, Major. Currently, we have 6 recruiters, including First Lieutenant Lambert, who wasn't mentioned earlier. We also have a senior recruiter of Major himself. And over the past couple months, we've been seeing an influx of people interested in ARMA, so that's a great thing to see. Now, we have 2 billets for recruiters. We have Recruiter 79R and Senior Recruiter 79S. Essentially the same thing, but the Senior Recruiter is in charge and kind of like rallies the men up and makes them perform their duties a little bit better than what they maybe intended at first. Complacency is a killer. That's why the Senior Recruiters always try to encourage their subordinates under them to carry out their duties and make the DOMS happening.
Why is all our vehicles
All
awesome?
right,
Never mind.
outstanding. Yeah, didn't mean to cut you off there, Major.
No, it's all good. I mean, recruiting is our, I mean, to me, recruiting is extremely important, right? We can't grow, we can't develop new soldiers without it. To have soldiers come in, that's rule kind of number one for us. And then really from there, they hit the training side of it with FIG has been doing outstanding with pushing not only our OSET classes but all our advanced skills classes. Over these last quarter, we've had several airborne school, air assault school. We've had our warrior leadership, an EIB, a couple medic courses, a couple CLS courses. So FIG is really rocking it there. I know currently right now BMO is currently full. So if you're looking to get into BMO, there's pretty much a waiting list. But then CID, which makes our uniforms and any imaging we need. So we recently launched into a new operation, which we'll talk about soon. And I mean, they made some pretty good imagery for it and got us going there. And then Corps of Engineers, they've been extremely busy this last quarter. For the last, I'd say about 2 quarters, we've been trialing and erroring and investing in a new server, cloud server base to host our servers on. Instead of going with traditional, dedicated box that's always running, we now have the ability to pay per, basically gigabyte. And that's helped cut some unit expenses, which then we're able to turn that and use it into somewhere else to better our soldiers. And then really PAO, I mean, that's where we're at currently right now. Knocking out the podcast, knocking out obviously things on our front page, our YouTube page and our Facebook page, social media. So that's DMOSs in a nutshell.
Thank you for that, Major. Yeah, I mean, I tell you, there's always work to be done. We'd love to have some more hands helping out to lighten the load. I think the past year has really been outstanding in terms of growth in the unit. Really, the development of, like you said, Major, our training. Our milsim in ARMA. I mean, we're playing one game now, but our milsim goes back way deeper and far beyond any one game. ARMA is great for what we do, but really it's not just getting on, for a couple hours a week in the game. The relationships that we develop kind of, behind the lines, no pun intended, really, that's what makes the unit, I think. That's what sustains us over time. Now, let's go over some current ARMA 3 news. I got a couple of items here. I don't know about you, but I noticed last week there was a small RHS update. I noticed that RHS Gref, Armed Forces of the Russian Federation, etc. A couple of those had some updates that caused some issues in Eden. I had to update a few things, remove some specific objects in the editor in order to get the scenario to run after that. So I did a little Googling, went to RHS's website. I couldn't find any news on that. So if anyone else out there has some info on that, any explanation, please, by all means, share it. Post a link if you got one. I'd appreciate that. And in addition to that, there's been a lot of buzz about the SOG Prairie Fire DLC coming up. ARMA 3 says, or yeah, I should say, Bohemia says that they're going to release it second quarter of this year, so should be out any day now. I've seen a couple of posts or a couple of vids on YouTube, one from Operator Drewski, another from Shermanator. It seems like we're getting pretty close. I know Drewski had been testing some scenarios on it. Apparently, this thing is going to be basically a scenario with a map of Southeast Asia that rivals the size of Altus. So I think Altus is about 270 square kilometers. So that's a pretty good chunk of real estate. The realism is supposed to be outstanding in terms of the weapons, the tactics employed by NATO troops and the Viet Cong and NBA. So there's been a lot of excitement in the Arma 3 community because of the high realism and the multiplayer co-op scenarios that have been in the news. So we're all looking forward to that here in the unit. We pretty much specify our loadouts in terms of modern, contemporary Army operations. But that's not to say that we don't enjoy a good fun op or
A
some other
throwback weekend,
Exactly, some other kind of special event just to mix it up, kind of change pace a little bit and enjoy the game for everything that it offers. So more news is reported to come on that, and hopefully we'll get it out on the market here in the next couple of weeks.
If I can piggyback on that, Sergeant First Class.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, I was looking at that as well. I brought it to the attention on the forums. Some people were unaware about Operation Prairie, I think it's called. And Vietnam looks to be very impressive. I've talked to several people about it. They all seem very excited within the unit. And we were trying to see if First Sergeant Drake could kind of make it into a Friday night fun fight or whatever it's called. And we can host that on one of our servers and potentially bring in people from outside of the unit into the unit through the new DLC that's coming out shortly.
Yeah, I think that'd be a lot of fun. If you look around the gaming community, I mean, there have been a lot of Vietnam era mods, not only for Arma, but for other games. We've got Rising Storm 2, plenty of videos on YouTube, concerning that game. So I know the interest is out there. I know interest in the Milsim community is getting stronger, it seems, every year. So, hopefully this will, once it is released, it'll be the start of a great thing.
Yeah, I agree. I know Corporal Pendergast has some inside info, I'm told, about it.
Yeah. So basically, what you said, the map is huge. It has multiple places like Saigon, UAE Citadel. I don't know what you say exactly in English. You also have Hanoi, so a lot of major cities and a lot of major places during the Vietnam War, and you also have like huge amount of weapon made by really good modders, including 20 from Any Arms. And I've heard that we will get a China Lake grenade launcher that is actually properly modeled and animated, so kind of looking into that. And also, to add, it will be supported for very long, so we will see update from time to time adding weapons and vehicles, just like the other CDLC, the previous one. So yeah, for example, at the moment there is no AC-47 Spooky, which I am kind of sad, but we might see one in the future. So
somebody will mod it.
Yeah, I mean, it already exists. Like Sergeant Brock said, we have a few mods like Unsung for Arma 3, but it's not. I mean, I don't want to be disrespectful toward modders, but it's not going to be on the same level of quality because the team is much bigger on Purifier CDLC.
Huh. That's interesting. I mean, I've never really been 100% interested in like the Vietnam era. I mean, that's my father's time frame, and he served during that time, or his family, and just that era alone. I've always been impartial to like WW2, outside everybody's time frame of recent times, and be able to do that, but just being able to see it, I have played, Rising Sun for a little bit with some soldiers here, and that was interesting. And the videos look phenomenal. The artwork and the screenshots look phenomenal. So it's definitely going to be something fun to dive into, and have some fun throwback times. As we are a modern unit, we're real time, I guess you could say, active. So the moving the unit in that direction probably won't ever happen, but be able to still go back and have some fun. I know years ago we always tried to do like the D-Day landings, and get the mod pack back there, and do some joint ops, things like that. I could definitely see it transitioning into that, just getting out there and having some fun.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it.
Speaking of some fun and large areas like the Asian continent, we're currently in Africa. We deployed here the beginning of April to Operation Silver Guardian. It's a deployment to Africa, and in it we actually have a lot of moving factors, I should say, between Corporal Pendergast here, who is the main S2 that works on the intel side of you know, uh, planning, executing, taking on intel. That's right up his alley, as well as the political side of it with Sergeant Brock. So I'll let Corporal, if you want to give a quick rundown of kind of bullet points. Why are we here? Why are we in Africa? What's end goal? What's I guess commander's intent, and whatnot.
Yeah, okay. So to start with, I need to say something. So in real life, there are only a few American soldiers that are deployed in kind of Eastern Africa, in the Sahel, where we are fighting. But I was looking to make something different. I didn't want it for us to be deployed in the Middle East again, and I had other options like Eastern Asia or Eastern Europe, but that was kind of difficult to put in place quickly. So basically, we went with Africa, and I had to think about something that would actually make African soldier be deployed in Africa. So I went with basically a scenario that is pretty intricate, having the real-life airbase of Agadez, which exists and is manned by American soldiers and is a drone operating airbase. And I had to basically make an attack on that base, but that is obviously fictional, of course. But it gave us a good reason to be deployed in Africa in good numbers. And with that, I added an objective during the attack of the Agadez Air Base. We basically got 2 US soldiers that got kidnapped. And one of the big objectives of the campaign is actually to retrieve those soldiers, along with fighting and liberating the population in Eastern Africa.
Wow. Sergeant Brock, with your time in thus far, what would you say, like, getting in, how we've done thus far? I mean, we're just about to launch into our 3rd combat mission in theater. So what's your, I guess, assessment thus far?
All right. Well, yeah, we've spent about 3 weeks in the AO. It started off kind of rough. Our first day on the ground in Agadez, the FOB, our airbase, was hit pretty hard by insurgent attacks. So they basically swarmed the base. They were coming from 3 different directions, putting a lot of direct and indirect fires on us. And, we took some hard hits there. Had a lot of casualties, but we were able to pull through. Fight off the attacks and push out and clear out in a certain hotspot. So, it was really a baptism of fire. And from there, we pulled, another combat mission, pushing out to, locate basically get some intel, locate some enemy forces. Unfortunately, in the fog of war and the confusion of Africa, it's like the Middle East, and maybe even more so. It can be very difficult to tell friend from foe. So we got into some firefights there with a lot of people, and unfortunately, that kind of stirred up our hornet's nest. So this past week, we patrolled again and went out looking for an enemy convoy and some supply depots. We were able to locate the convoy and destroy it, and we also took out a enemy weapons cache. We were able to free some civilian hostages and capture a enemy prisoner of war as well. So that's the thing. We started hot and heavy. We kind of hit a block there, but we're making progress, pushing out, and that's the thing. We every week we want to get better, accomplish more, and perform our jobs even more effectively. So that's the route we're on, and we have another combat mission coming up this Sunday. So I know the platoon's looking forward to that.
Yeah, so am I. I mean, we're in a theater that we have never been in as a unit. As the corporal stated, I mean, it's not too often you see the United States military deployed to Africa. I mean, World War II, sure, we went in there, but other than that, I mean, to be able to get a new experience, a new enemy, to focus our enraged E4 Mafia towards, and send them at them. I think hopefully we'll be victorious, but it's too soon to tell. Going in and knowing that we're probably going to be here for a couple months, if not a little longer, under a year, hopefully. But really depends on how we do, what our goals are to achieve our mission and have success. So to filter into the next point with Corporal Pendergast. One thing that we have been doing for many, many years is selecting a soldier of the quarter. So we just we just ended our first quarter of 2021, the start of April. So that covers the months of January, February, and March. Command staff gets together during our meetings and selects a soldier of the quarter who really shined, who really went above and beyond, above all his peers, his or her peers, and that was Corporal Pendergast here. He was selected. A lot of factors went into it. I mean, there was a handful of soldiers that were up there to qualify for it and be nominated, which is outstanding in itself to have multiple choices to go with. And one thing that really stood out for me for Corporal was his ability to take on more. Nobody really told him, "Hey, go make an entire operation from nothing." It's a clean slate, whiteboard. Just start writing and let us know what you have. And that really stood out to me, and definitely the detail that came back in the reports of what or where we were going or what's the possibilities, and to have the ability as the commander to say, all right, let's go here, and then start that backstory. So I mean, for Corporal Pendergast, I mean, he joined our unit in October of 2020. At first he was assigned as just a rifleman in 3rd Squad. He quickly graduated our OSET, our basic training, and AIT mid-November. He was selected to move on to 4th Squad when we reactivated it, to where he served as a squad medic. And then just recently, in the beginning of April here, as he said, he has been then moved from squad medic after serving there for a couple months into being our 1st platoon Widowmaker doc. So he's our platoon medic. Kind of throughout his time, I mean, he shows extreme passion for the unit, as you can see with this operation, with everything and anything he does. If you're on our Discord, if you're on our website, you'll see him posting, and he'll be there, and he's active, and he's ready to go. He's just ready and willing to assist and help. Throughout his time, he's earned Army Achievement Medals, Humanitarian Service Medals, completed the EIB, Expert Infantry Badge, which is a school that we ran earlier this year, which is extremely difficult, as well as being a skilled combat medic, completing that course, Airborne School, Air Assault, getting that French cord that I can never say, for having 3 out of 4 of the skill badges. And to top it all off now, he was awarded the Soldier's Medal for being selected as Soldier of the Quarter for our first quarter of 2021. So really, Corporal, I guess tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you, Major. So yeah, so my name is Arthur. I'm not going to say it with the English accent. I am 24 years old, and as you may hear with my wonderful accent, I am French. So that means that I can say French fourragère perfectly. So yeah, I've recently graduated with my Master of Political Science, and my Master specialization is actually in labor laws. But as you do in political science, you learn a lot of history, a lot of things that happened in the world recently or in the past. And that really helped me, as you said, to write up the mission and find something that could work for the US Army and not to be deployed again in the Middle East. Sorry. So yeah, actually, also I am trying to join an international organization, so either the UN or the ILO, the International Labour Organization. Since I live very close to Geneva, which is basically the European New York when it comes to international organizations. And along with that, I love playing video games. So yeah, that's a bit about me.
All right. Well, I think all of us in this channel is we love playing video games. Hopefully, everybody that's listening to this podcast is we love playing video games. So, with video games and us being Arma 3, why'd you join us? How'd you find us? What brought you here, and what's keeping you here?
Okay, so that's like actually a pretty long story. I've been looking for an Arma 3 unit for a long time, but I didn't want to join a French one because I mean I'm gonna be disrespectful to my people, but usually French milsim units are not on the same quality level as American
Did
units,
they
for
drop
example.
their rifles there too?
Actually, yes. No, but yeah, they're not on the same level of quality. So I was looking into something American, and I couldn't find, like, I tried to join some units, but sometimes they wouldn't recruit me or stuff like that, just because the time zone were not good enough, or they had like a very long list of people waiting to join. So I met actually one of the third ID soldiers, Sergeant Shade, on another Discord, and we were discussing about units, and he told me that he had a unit that could like be good for me, and with good timestamp, because to be honest, the third ID is very good for that, for European players, because we get to play at good times, I'd say, most of the time, and everything is kind of adapted, just like the O-suit, for example. You have an O-suit time for the Europe and one for the US, stuff like that, so pretty good. And I joined the 3rd Infantry, not very sure of what will happen to me back then. And I was like pleasantly surprised when I did my O-suit with Sergeant Brock, who's here, and Corporal Chieri. And it really made me think that this unit was what I was looking for. And above that, and when I joined, actually, after my O-suit, I was put into 3rd Squad, even before, but I really just, I did my O-suit and then played with my squad, not the other way around. And I met Staff Sergeant Abel back then, and Staff Sergeant Touchy, which were my leaders. And they are very good leaders, very cool. They explained to me everything, like how to do a BMO request and all that. I wasn't lost at all. And yeah, with all that, all the nice people I've met, like right at the beginning on my first month, I discovered that this unit was exactly what I was looking for, and I would stay here.
Ah, that's awesome. I mean, throughout your time thus far, I mean, have you have any good moments, memorable, funny, anything like that?
And to be honest, I have a lot of funny moments, but memorable one in particular, the reactivation of 4th Squad. I mean, for me, it was like a good moment because as you said, I was an 11 Bravo, but I was a CLS, so kind of into the medical stuff. And it was the first time I was playing Arma 3, being a medic, being someone, that carries medical stuff around. And being trusted in 4th Squad as the squad medic was really a memorable moment for me. I was very happy with that. And I discovered that I like doing medic things in Arma 3. And I was lucky to be joined by 1st Squad and 2nd Squad soldiers, including, well, my friend, Specialist Liwa. And, all the soldiers that I've met and learned to like Perez or Poltrak, all those good, fine soldiers that makes the unit a place not only where you do milsim, but where you meet people and learn to have fun with each other.
I think that's probably the most unique thing about our unit is that we're all like-minded. We're here for the milsim, we're here for the army feel of it, but then be able to actually have that true camaraderie. I mean, we have our common hall that is constantly full, and to me, the best part about this is being able to talk to people like you from France, First Sergeant from Belgium, or Lieutenant from Aussie Town, and be able to talk to people all around the world, right from my my gaming station here. So, do you have any advice for your fellow soldiers or new soldiers that may be potentially listening to this, and on the edge whether or not they want to join a milsim realism?
Yeah, enjoy your time in the unit. Like I said, it's not very usual for Milsim to have that level of quality. Like, look, I am French and I joined an American unit. I'm basically going through 100 ping each time I join the server just to have fun here. So yeah, there is that.
BTR coming in.
Yeah, and to be honest, in this unit, if you work for something, you will usually get it. I mean, maybe someday I'll major if I work hard enough, but not now. And we have a lot of experienced people, including in the military field. I mean, like you or OCS Cruz or even Vandal, Private Vandal, which is an artillery officer in real life. And discussing with you guys, I learned so much about the U.S. Army, which I like. I mean, I joined a U.S. MILSIM unit. I like the U.S. Army, and I've started that thing which is called Tales of Courage on the forum, where I share a little story. For now, it's only like mostly Medal of Honor or people, but I share a story of American soldier because I find them inspiring. And I mean, yeah, if you want to join a unit, it needs to be enjoyable for you. And I think the third ID is a pretty enjoyable unit as long as you do your part, be friendly with people, be respectful. You'll find your place, and yeah, that's
Nice.
about it.
Of our Army values, I mean, we have 7 of them. I know you're pretty close to duty. Explain like the I guess your persona of duty.
Oh yeah, duty in a milsim unit might be kind of weird to say because we are basically gamers playing, so it's kind of tough. But as you said at the beginning of the podcast, the unit is I'm not gonna say surviving, but it's trusting each members that wants to rank up to become specialist and above to do their duty to make the unit work, because without us the unit wouldn't be that good. It wouldn't have lasted that long. And I'm only 6 months in, but I can see that, and that everyone doing their job makes everything going on. I mean, from recruiting, you get new soldiers. Then FIG, we get to know the soldier. I mean, the first time in game, most of the time it's us seeing them. Then we have the combat uniform updaters, which do an amazing job at that thing that makes the unit kind of very special. Those uniforms are amazing. I mean, then we have like a lot of things like communication, public affairs office, which can give to life. I mean, make the unit come to life in social medias, also the streaming, all that, and obviously S4, which makes all your mappings and stuff. So yeah, duty is above all, I think, very important, and you need to remember that in a milsim unit, because you might be forgetting that you have also a part of duty to do for the unit to keep on going.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, to me, it doesn't. I've been coined for saying this a lot in my career, but it doesn't take much for a person to hit that X on the upper right hand corner, and we never see them again. So it's a mix between being here because you want to be, fulfilling your duty that you signed up for, honoring your word. I mean, you mentioned before, kind of like I guess it'd be along the lines of motivating you, of meeting new people and interesting people and whatnot. But what valuable lessons have you kind of learned thus far in the unit?
Well, a valuable lesson, always look to improve. I mean, you can join a DMOS and you will learn things from people. I mean, each time I partake in a class, I learn something new. Like the radio class we had last weekend, I learned a lot of things on radio communications. And I mean, those skills, you might be able to use them in real life someday. And even land nav, you can use that in real life. So yeah, keep looking for improvement. Learn from other soldiers, even if it's not army related. You can have a chat with someone in the platoon common hall and learn a lot of things about real life stuff that you might not know. And that's what's nice about being in a multinational unit with people with a lot of knowledge and experience.
Awesome. Well, I guess on to our next part here. It's the man behind the rank. As I'm the guest speaker for Man Behind the Ranks, as it's about me, I'll let Sergeant, I guess hit me with your questions.
Yes, sir. All right. Excuse me. All right, let's get this thing started. So, yes, this is the first man behind the rank in recent memories. So we're going to start right at the top. So, Major, to get things started here with this segment, let me ask you, from your perspective, what is your favorite thing about the unit? What's your favorite aspect here?
Well, I think it corresponds a lot with what Corporal Pendergast just said, was the ability to talk to people across the world. We're all like-minded. We all are here for the milsim and the military and the U.S. Army and the playing Army side of it. And being able to get in game and you know make contact with an enemy is fun, sure. But what I find fascinating about the unit is the people I've met over the years. I'm coming up on, oh boy, date myself, 15 years in the unit this May, and that's probably been my favorite part, is just being able to talk to people throughout the years, get to know them. I've traveled for vacations and met people that have served in the unit over the years. We did a podcast before to where it was mostly command staff, and met in person, did a video, just things like that, and be able to meet people across the world.
That's great. All right, let's go a little bit further and move to Chow. What's your favorite food?
I'll never deny a cheeseburger. American cheese, cheddar cheese. I'm Wisconsin, so anything with cheese on it is good. Cheese curds. Oh, if you haven't had cheese curds, fried, amazing. Yeah, I'd say that I would never deny those items if they were an option to me.
Good stuff. All right, now let's get really personal. When's your birthday?
I am almost a Christmas baby. I was born 2 days after Christmas, December 27th. So sometimes that's well, when I was a kid, that really sucked. Mostly just for the fact of my family would always combine my Christmas and my birthday presents, so I wouldn't get double duty. And hope, if so, something like my siblings back then, you'd get like a little handheld game, like bowling or Texas Hold'em in a handheld video game, or think like a Game Boy, and I'd get the batteries on my birthday 2 days later. So that'd be my equivalent. So not exactly the best to have your birthday around a major holiday.
All right, now what about pets? I remember seeing the dog cam on your stream. Can you tell us about your animals?
Yeah. So we have two dogs. The one that mostly hits the dog cam all the time is Roxy. She's always behind me. She is now. She's a canine police dog. I got her from a first sergeant, actually served with us, First Sergeant Long, back in 2008, 2007. She's 14. She's a Belgian Malinois. And then we recently rescued a Coonhound mix. You'll definitely hear the Coonhound every once in a while on my stream of her just going ape at the window for a squirrel or a cat. And she's a Coonhound. She's going to be 2 here in May. That one's full of energy, and the other one's more relaxed and just likes to sleep all the time. So
Outstanding. All right, now what do you do for a living currently?
I am a senior grocery manager for a grocery retail store. I joined as a third shift employee back in 2007 after I got out of the military, and kind of never looked back. I mean, I got promoted pretty quickly into the role of grocery leader, and now just over 10 years of doing it. I've kind of just one of the main staples of it. I travel a bit for it, opening new stores. It's a retail chain that's only in the state of Wisconsin where I live, so it's not nationally known. It's not Kroger. Festival Foods is just a Wisconsin-based chain, and but very, very successful because, again, just like the military, I find a good link between the two because it has very strong foundation, very good values, and a strong mission statement. So.
All right, now obviously you spend a lot of time in Arma playing other games. What other hobbies do you have outside of gaming?
Outside of gaming, I am a competitive long shooter, so I play around with sniper rifles when I get a chance. It's an expensive hobby to be able to piece together, I got a Remington 260, which is a nice rifle. Doesn't win me much, but I think it's not necessarily the rifle; it's maybe the shooter. I'm coming to terms with that over the years of doing it. But that's a fun hobby of mine. Um, Being outside doing yard work, I've been finding a lot more enjoyable. In our new house, we just purchased this one last summer. So being able to clean up brush, reclaim the lawn from the weeds, and I've been finding more and more fun in that. So
That's great. Now, what kind of advice can you give to your fellow soldiers, or really anybody new to Arma 3 who wants to enlist?
give it a try. Milsim is a different beast. Definitely, if you're Arma's a different beast. So if you're coming over and from a first-person shooter like COD or any really fast-paced game, Arma's not that. So getting into a milsim that can use tactics, that can use battle drills, that can use formations, that can use shoot and maneuver, and give it a shot. Try it out. Really get to know the people, and everything else will kind of fall in line. As what Corporal said, I mean, you get to know the people, and you just fall into your role on what you want to do, and keep pushing. Some advice to move up in the unit is just be active and be there. The opportunities will come as we continue to grow and bring new people in. We're always looking for solid leaders, people that are ready for that next role. So,
All right. Now, what about music? What's your favorite jam?
a little bit of everything. I grew up country, like classic indie rock. Being able to listen. I think I turned on Bon Jovi this morning. Some worship music here and there in the morning as well. Me and my wife listen to, and just being able to enjoy some relaxation time with my wife, and just listen to kind of really anything. We have a lot of surround sound in our house. Our entire house is wired not only normally with like Alexa in every room, so you could just listen to the entire whole house. But then also our outdoors, we have a nice entertainment area on our back deck, which then has Bluetooth, basically surround sound there. So while we're out enjoying a nice fire and drink or something like that on our patio, we can, listen to some tunes.
That's pretty cool. All right. Now, do you have any siblings in real life?
I do. I am the youngest of 5 in my family, actually. I have 2 brothers, 2 sisters. I had my closest brother to me of 3 years older than me actually passed away in 2002 while serving in the U.S. Army. So that what really inspired me to actually enlist 2 years later. And my oldest brother is retired now. He was a software engineer for the U.S. government. I have my oldest sister is actually an architect, and then my sister after that is actually works with me. She works for Festival Foods and is a manager there. She's the one that actually got me to join Festival back in the day because she worked there. So
Great. Well, thank you for that. All right. Now let's get back to the personal info here a little bit deeper. So, what kind of guilty pleasures do you have?
I mean, not. I wouldn't say too many. I mean, I can get caught up into some sappy shows with my wife, and be the one to say, "Hey, let's watch that show." But other than that, I'd say watching some shows that you wouldn't necessarily think I would watch. Nothing like Real Housewives of Jersey or anything. I can't really stand reality TV, but like Hallmark. I'm a fan of Hallmark movies, and they make you feel good inside. And I mean, stressful life already. I just want to dive in and watch something that has a good ending at the end. So I would say the Hallmark Channel. I know over the winter, me and my wife tried to watch all new Hallmark movies, the Christmas Hallmark movies, and they started playing like in October. I didn't know that at the time, but I guess they have an app and everything that you could track what movies you watched, and I lost count. My wife was doing most of the counting, but overall, yeah, you can get used to those.
All right. All right, now let's talk about pet peeves. I mean, you mentioned stress and how you like to avoid that. What is your biggest pet peeve in real life or in the unit?
Um, I would say giving up. I'm one that I take the warrior ethos serious. I never accept defeat. I never quit. And really, I think that shows to the longevity of the unit under my command. But and I know as I approach that 20-year retirement mark, being able to know that the soldiers below me, I know they don't hit that pet peeve of mine. They won't quit. They're always going to be there. And really, I would say that never quitting, never giving up on yourself. Have faith in yourself as an individual, whether that's a unit or real life. Once you start playing victim, nobody benefits that. And I mean, we all live a tough life. Definitely this last 2020 with the global pandemic. But it's really up to you as an individual to make your own success and push forward. So I would say a pet peeve of mine is those that kind of give up on themselves and play the victim card.
Yep, you're absolutely right. All right, so uh, let me ask you, here in the unit, what is your proudest achievement? And or beyond the unit, let's talk about real life. What's what's your proudest achievement that you've undertaken?
I mean, rolling with the punches is something definitely for the unit. I mean, we've been large and we've been small, so that's a pretty good achievement to be able to be recognized. I mean, I love going just in like the Steam discussions or Discord discussions, and filtering for third ID and hearing what people say about us. We've been named by even some of the Bohemia admins as one of the longest running sustained units out there. I mean, it takes something to do that for sure. A personal achievement. I mean, I'm very proud of my military service. I'm proud of my life and my wife, and the house that we're developing. Um, you know, just being able to rebuild, I guess you can say. And I was previously married. That ended abruptly, and and I was able to meet my current wife and move forward. I'm pretty proud of that to be able to again make my own success and find find the right one and move forward. So.
Yes, sir. All right, so we're going to end the man behind the rank on hopefully a humorous note. I have to ask, sir, what's an embarrassing story or a funny moment that's happened to you? Again, this can be real life or in the unit.
Oh boy. Well, let's see. I got some growing up stories. I grew up on a farm. An 80 small mom and pop, 80 cow, dairy cow farm, all the way up to I'd say about 10 or 11, when they had to shut it down just by, it's hard to be a farmer when you're that small. But I mean, multiple times my brother playing pranks on me, my brother Raymond that passed away, at times of convincing me to like skinny dip in like the cow drinking tank, which is like a 1,000-gallon tank, and then taking all my clothes and throwing them up in the apple tree in the front yard, and locking me out of the house. So there I am, a 7, 8-year-old kid climbing buck naked in a apple tree, trying to get my clothes. That would be one that sticks with me and a good memory because it made me laugh now. I obviously wasn't laughing at the time. Just times of slipping and falling and into cow dung. That happens a lot in my life, unfortunately, more than I want to admit. But other than that, you take those embarrassing moments and they become memories, and it nobody remembers those things except you. And so that's one of the funny things about them is that if you ask my brother's friend, which was also there to help him coordinate this whole thing, would he remember it? Probably not, but I do because it happened to me. It was traumatizing at the time, but.
Hmm. Well, you're absolutely right, and I appreciate the story there. I have to say, Major, I've actually I've known you for over a year now, and I've learned quite a bit that I didn't know before we had this podcast. So it's great learning more.
Yeah, I mean, I love the man behind the rank. I think it's a good way of our soldiers, our listeners, everybody that listens to this, to get to know some uh, soldiers, some leaders, some people that you may have interacted with a little bit throughout your service here or time, and I think it'll be a good piece to get to know some people more on a personal level. So. Um, to kind of wrap up our podcast, though, I want to kind of open it up to everybody about some mods that we currently use in our mod pack, and really, what are some of your favorites? We do have a pretty restricted mod pack. Is I'm to fault for that, not command staff, but me alone, as I'm a person that believes in you don't need everything that's shiny. We're infantry, right? We make do. So not every mod gets past COE and the testing, but those that do, then they have to be scrutinized kind of by me on do we really need it? Is it going to add true value to our soldiers' lives in the field? So, but of those mods that we currently have, any of you have any favorites or that help out a lot?
Well, Spartans was recently tasked with learning how to use and shoot mortars on target, and the VZ-99, I believe it is. Um, we've been having a lot of fun with that. Me personally, I've been enjoying learning the process and dictating it to my men. There's been a little bit of frustration, but overall, everybody's learning and everybody's getting it done. And we are just about ready to get it in the field and start producing those motors on target. So we've had a lot of fun with that in Spartans, and I'm glad we have it.
I played around with that too when I saw it come through, and I gotta say it is a nice weapon system. One that will add a lot of value to having the ability to have indirect fire that's not Zeused and has that ability to have some uh, personal error, I guess you can say, right? And be able to have a true reason for that RTO and that platoon FO up front, walking those mortars in and hopefully saving our lives as we're close to contact and we need some support. So I agree with that one. Pendergast, what do you got for a mod that you like?
Actually, I think the one of the mod I like the most at the moment is the Kujari map. For the moment, we deployed in the GOS engine out map, but you should really look forward when we're gonna move to Kujari because it's actually a very well made map, very nice, and it will be when the actual operation will really kick off. So looking forward
Oh,
to that, and yeah,
insider
Kujari map.
trading.
Yeah, and Kujari map very nice. You will see it's really a style map with rivers, little jungles, but also a plain with a lot of sand. So kind of a good
Nice.
map.
For me personally, it's one of those that I actually did approve of the shiny. Like it wasn't really fully needed, and that's honestly the helmet sling mod. As if we're playing military and we're being the U.S. Army, one of our SOPs or the real military is that you don't go indoors with headgear on. And I was finding that we have our training classes of classroom instruction indoors. We have our leaders' briefings and all that indoors. And I thought it'd be a little bit more of a realistic touch to making sure that your headgear's off when you enter doors. So I kind of like that one. To wrap up, Cernbrock, what's yours?
Well, I mean, it's a minor detail, but I really like the TFAR animation mod that we're using now. It adds to that immersion. Being able to pull up your AN PRC 152, hold it up to your ear. I mean, hit the mic button on your chest. I mean, there's a couple of different animations that you can set for your person. So, again, it's minor in the grand scheme, but it's those little details that really add up for me in the milsim.
Very true. And again, it's one of those that does add a little bit of immersion to it. So that's a go. But without further ado, Son Brock, if you want to wrap us up, we'll get out of everybody's hair and have them go about their day.
Yes, sir. Well, it's great getting us back, on the road again, getting in the studio with you gentlemen. And I want to thank everybody joining us for listening in. So we're going to be doing this again next quarter. So we should have our next podcast scheduled for sometime in July. So stay tuned for info on that. until then, that's all we've got for tonight. So, gentlemen, I want to thank you, Major LaFlash, Sergeant Skitz, and Corporal Pendergast for your participation. And, until next time, this is Sergeant First Class Brock reporting out.
LEA fucked up here. Let's go.
Whoop.